In problem 2.24, we are going to take a look at oogenesis, and we are going to take a look at it by determining what happens when 50 primary oocytes in an animal go through the various stages of oogenesis. So if that happens, how many secondary oocytes are formed, how many first polar bodies are formed, and how many ootids are formed. So let's just take a quick look at oogenesis. So we are going to start with the oogonium. This will develop into the primary oocyte. This divides by meiosis, meiosis 1, to make the secondary oocyte. And the first polar body and so this is meiosis 1. And the secondary oocyte divides through meiosis 2. Oh yeah, that's right, I wanted that arrow, sorry. Okay, to make the ootid and the second polar body. So, and there's that complicated thing with humans, right, where the secondary oocyte is the actual gamete that's fertilized. So the actual ootid isn't formed until after fertilization. But we don't need to worry about that for this question. So if we start with 50 of these, part A of the question asks us how many secondary oocytes would be formed. So if we start with 50 primary oocytes, then we are going to form 50 first polar bodies and 50 secondary oocytes. The next part of the question was how many first polar bodies are formed. Okay, 50. Right, so we have 50 primary oocytes. These are going to divide, and they're going to make 50 secondary oocytes and 50 first polar bodies. And how many ootids are going to be formed? Okay, so when 50 secondary oocytes divide, we're going to get 50 ootids and 50 second polar bodies. Now sometimes students get confused and they want to say, okay, well when this 50 here divides, well, we're going to get 25 of these and 25 of these. That's not the case. That's not the case. So when this divides, you're actually getting 50 of one thing and 50 of the other. And it works that way all the way through. Okay, I think that's it for 220. Oh no, we have another part of this problem. So if one follows 50 primary spermatocytes in an animal through their various stages of spermatogenesis, how many secondary spermatocytes will be formed? So let's look at spermatogenesis. It's a little different because we're not getting those polar bodies. So okay, we start with a spermatogonium. And that's going to form the primary spermatocyte. Which is going to divide through meiosis 1 to make the secondary spermatocytes, 2 of these. which are going to divide through meiosis II. To make the spermatids. And then those will develop to make the spermatozoa. And I won't draw those. So the question is, how many secondary spermatocytes would be formed if we start with 50 primary spermatocytes? So starting with 50 of these, well, if this divides, we're going to get 50 of this and 50 of this. And how many spermatids would be formed? Well, okay, so these are each going to divide. So we're going to get 50 of this, 50 of this. This divides, makes 2 spermatids, 50 of this, 50 of this. Okay, so we are going to get 200 spermatids and 100 spermatocytes, starting with 50 primary spermatocytes. So it's different from oogenesis. In oogenesis, essentially when you're starting with 50 primary oocytes, you're getting 50 ootids at the end. And with spermatogenesis, when you start with 50 primary spermatocytes, you're ending up with 200 spermatids.